Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Regional Development Assessment Panel. I declare the meeting open at 9:34 a.m. and I acknowledge we're hosting this meeting on the traditional land of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We acknowledge the Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of Western Australia, pay respect to elders past and present, and the ongoing connection between people, land, waters, and community. This meeting will be run in accordance with the DAP Standing Orders 2024 under the DAP Regulations 2011. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the DAP website in accordance with Regulation 42A of the regulations. Panel members may refer to technical devices throughout the meeting to assist them in considering the information before them. Take the opportunity to introduce our members that are participating today. My name is Dale Cage. I'm the presiding member today. In the room with me, I have Clayton Hyam to my left, Deputy Presiding Member, and Tony Arias, Specialist Member. Online with us from the City of Bunbury, I have Councillor Todd Brown and Councillor Cheryl Kosisek. Welcome to you both. Item 2, apologies, there are none today. Noting of minutes of all previous meetings are available on the DAP website. Moving to Part B of our agenda, dealing with the City of Bunbury, declaration of due consideration. Panel members need to have considered all the documentation contained within Part B of the agenda and the Part B related information. Could I please confirm by a show of hands that members have considered all information? Thank you. Item 2, disclosures of interest. Could I check with our local government members whether this application has been before you at a briefing or a meeting?
No.
Great, thank you so much. No other disclosures of interest have been received to this point. Do any members wish to make any declarations in relation to the item?
No.
All good, thank you. Moving on then to our Form 1 DAP application today, relates to Lot 1, number 31 Rawling Road, Davenport, upgrade to wastewater treatment facilities associated with an existing abattoir. DAP number 25/02996. We have one presenter on this item today online. We have Canella Hope from Planned Focus. We also have Andrea Rocha, Brent Dancer and Alan Mooney with us online from V&V Walsh to answer questions from the panel if required. Canella, I remind you, in accordance with our standing orders, your presentation is limited to 3 minutes. We've had a read of what you have sent through, so I do encourage you to focus on the key points you wish to get across in that 3 minutes, and then there will be the opportunity for members to ask you questions after that. I'll call you to time when you reach your 3 minutes, which start when you are ready.
Great, thank you. Just checking you can hear me okay. I've had some technical issues. Excellent.
Yes.
Good morning, panel members, and thank you for the opportunity to present. I'm the planning consultant and the applicant, and I'm joined by my clients from V&V Walsh, as you've introduced. I'm also hoping Louisa Robertson from JBS&G, she may also be online, just can't see her on the screen. At the outset, I'd like to thank the City of Bunbury officers for their support and working with us to progress this application. V&V Walsh is one of Australia's largest meat processing plants and also one of the largest employers here in Bunbury. Wastewater management, this new wastewater treatment plant, it's integral to meat processing. This upgrade is very significant and it's a major commitment by V&V Walsh. And that's also with regards to maintaining their environmental licensing. The existing wastewater treatment arrangement is going to be unable to comply moving forward with contemporary requirements. So this is very essential. The new wastewater treatment plant is state-of-the-art and it's actually the first of its kind being implemented in the meat industry in Australia. So not being off the shelf, being purpose-built, this has certainly added to some complexity to its delivery. That all said, overall, we're very happy with the recommendation to approve and also with all of the conditions. That's save for the matter that I set out in my deputation, which was concerning proposed conditions 4, 5 and 7. These are the conditions that are prefaced with prior to the commencement of works, the preface around timing for the other conditions or works. These are fairly standard detailed design matters around internal road construction, stormwater management, and also the DFES BMP. We can work with the way the BMP, the rest of that condition is worded, but we have already provided an addendum, and JBS&G, Louise's level 3 bushfire assessor, she'll be obviously certifying this development moving forward as well. Simplistically, querying this is really about safeguard and de-risking. We just want to have some certainty that the upfront clearing and the site preparation works can go ahead, because timing-wise, that needs to happen very quickly to facilitate the ongoing procurement and project management. So I've made some suggestions about that wording, which I trust the panel will consider. I did discuss it with the City of Bunbury officers, and they seemed amenable to that clarification as well. So thank you for the opportunity to present. We're all available if the panel has any questions.
Thank you, Canella. Spot on your 3 minutes, so thank you for that. Panel members, could I check whether anyone has a question of the applicant team? Councillor Kosisek, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a couple which may have been explained, but I've read the document a couple of times and may have lost the importance. It talks about groundwater levels on page 11, second paragraph from the bottom. Talks about high groundwater table, and then in the VNV Walsh submission on page 8, it talks about the fact that the groundwater levels have dropped and continue to do so. So I'm just wanting a little bit of clarification on where we're actually at with the groundwater levels, please.
Thank you. Who from the applicant team would like to answer that?
Not childish.
Well, yeah, so with the assessment of the groundwater, where there's been an assessment done as part of the design process to ensure that we get the appropriate levels for the facility. Obviously, as part of this facility, everything will be bunded to contain anything from within the process of that facility. But what we have been seeing of recent in our assessment that we do as part of our annual reporting with DWER is that we also do report on where we're seeing water levels. And so that's a reference to what we're seeing in those annual reporting with DWER.
Any other questions, Councillor?
Yes, just one more. Condition 6 from the city talks about the site soil evaluation and the sewage treatment, etc. And then it talks about if there is a sewage treatment, if a sewage treatment can be added in for obviously for the staff amenities, all the amenities would be deleted from the proposal. I'm just wondering what is VNV Walsh thinking is their best option there, please?
Yeah, certainly. The facility itself is going to be run by about 2 or 3 people. So in terms of the size of the amenities, it's going to be quite minimal in the overall sizing. Our initial plans had a fully contained amenities block that would be then pumped and all waste removed from site through truck. This had a few challenges as part of this process, and so we're going to continue to work through as part of the detailed design to look at the different options. Ideally, we want to not irrigate or send out to the open paddocks if we can. We'd rather contain and remove from site, but we'll certainly work through that as part of the detailed design. If it doesn't work, then we'll bring people back to the main facility to use the amenities in the existing facility if it doesn't work.
Yeah, and just to add, it's also a timing condition, Councillor. The testing that needs to happen has to occur in winter time. So we don't want to delay the progress of this overall major proposal on the back of a fairly small component. So this allows the timing to keep working with adequate safeguard in place to solve this detailed design issue.
Anything further, councillor? Member Hyam has a follow-on from that question before we go to councillor Brown.
Yes, look, I'm just wondering, would it be better off separating this out and creating it as a separate application after you've done that additional work?
Preference is to keep it all combined. The system's being developed as a wholly contained process. Our preference is to keep it in, but the condition does also allow for that, Member Hyam, with that option of deletion. It could potentially be dealt with separately if it needed to, but I don't see that eventuating. The timing of the process from here and when winter falls and when that testing can happen, when we can liaise with the city to get that sign-off for what is a very small component, all actually fits.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown, any questions from you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Questions from members?
Yes, thank you, presiding member. In your presentation, the reasons for the modifications to those three conditions is around meeting the obligations of the EPA. Can you just clarify what they actually are?
So as I understand it, and it's probably a little bit outside of my expertise, the works approval has been granted and there's conditions and obligation under that, but also obligation under the other works approvals that apply to the site. As I said at the outset, this is a modernisation of the wastewater treatment to do away with the existing system. And I understand there's timing obligation around that and commitment with DWER.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Arias?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
No.
That brings to close questions for the applicant team. We're going to move now to inviting questions of the local government officers. We have David Tanchev with us today from the City of Bunbury. David, I noticed you have other people in the room with you. Can you just let us know who is with you for our records, please?
I've got Alex, who's our team leader of our team. We've got Lakari, who's one of the planning officers in our team, and we've got Cam, who is our development engineer.
Okay, great. Thank you. David, we don't necessarily need you to run us through the detail that's already in the responsible authority report, but is there anything that has been raised through the applicant's deputation that you would like to address before we move to questions?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we acknowledge it's a significant application for Bunbury. It's a big employer. We've even got people in our team who used to work for the organisation, so you can see how it does affect the locals' employment. Just to go back on condition 6, where there's a question raised on that, we were comfortable with that condition just to allow the timing of the soil testing to be done and not hold up the entire development, because the amenity is quite a small part of the application. And then in relation to the timings, the deputation which Canella has raised, our engineer just had some questions on that.
In regards to deviating from the stormwater management plan being prepared prior to, I think the applicant was keen to have site works occur prior to the stormwater management plan. Is that the essence of the deviation there, or?
So can I just check, because I think what the applicant's asking is that instead of prior to commencement of works doing the things required by conditions 4, 5 and 7, because commencement of works is a very broad term, they're trying to narrow that down to say excluding associated clearing and site preparation works. So not necessarily works, site preparation works, and then prior to construction commencement. So they're seeking to exclude clearing and site prep from that condition. How does the city feel about that?
I guess we just need clarity on what exactly site preparation works are, because that can deviate a little bit. I would expect that would be, yes, clearing of vegetation, removal of vegetation from site, stripping of topsoil, stockpiling of topsoil, potentially removal of topsoil from site, and some sort of stabilisation of that loose surface on site. Is that about the extent of what that?
Well, I think we'll ask the applicant team. Can you clarify what you mean by site prep?
Yeah, so it would be to clear the natural vegetation and get the site ready for future construction. So it would bring in earthworks and ensure that everything is compact and stable, but then holding until any further works occur. So the main driver for that is to ensure that we're getting that done before the winter sets in, so that we're ensuring that we've got everything ready for the following year. Otherwise, we won't be able to touch anything for the best part of 6 to 7 months before any works. But it is to clear the vegetation, clear the topsoil, and replace with the required sand and compact to get it to construction height for future works.
Yeah,
Thank you. How does the City of Bunbury feel about those changes in the context of that information?
Well, understanding how the stormwater and drainage is going to be managed may rely on the finished floor levels provided in the earthworks. So if we were satisfied with some sort of a site preparation plan that understood the extent to which the earthworks were going to occur, then perhaps we would be okay with that. But we'd want to avoid the site preparation works creating a whole new atmosphere that then needed to be addressed, which would promote the need for further works later that may not have been considered, which could be considered under a stormwater and drainage management plan. So
is it just condition 5 that you hold that concern about? What about 4 and 7?
Yeah, it's just 5.
So can I go back to you, Carmela? If the city is concerned about condition 5, are you happy? Well, how would you respond to that, given the position they're taking on that?
I think site preparation works, they're not going to be a significant amount of work. I think if it tips over into anything more, that would trigger necessity for this kind of management. Then we're not doing site preparation works, we're into development. The necessity is really around timing and the vegetation clearing. In asking for this, it's fair to say that a fair bit of this work is actually quite well advanced. We're just concerned on the hitting the ground running, and timing is going to overlap, potentially not for very long. So that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think this is actual construction work. It's stabilising, I think, when the vegetation is cleared. A lot of the area actually down there's sort of a central clump of vegetation. The rest is already open paddock. So the change is just going to be removing that clump of vegetation, really.
Yeah. Okay, so we're essentially just talking about clearing.
No.
Okay. Member Hyam?
Just wondering if the city could provide some wording that might satisfy what they are concerned about, but still, excuse me, satisfy the objectives of the applicant.
Yeah, if we were to be provided with a preliminary site preparation plan, which indicated the extent to which earthworks would occur, then we could evaluate whether that was going to have a significant change in the site. But as it stands now, there's nothing for us to, we don't know how much fill you're going to bring in as a result of these site preparation works and how much the site's going to change as a result of that, and that's really the concern.
So can I just check with you, David, then? If we were to look at requiring a site preparation plan as a condition of approval, would you then be comfortable if we added in the need for a site preparation plan to be approved by the City of Bunbury? Would you be then happy, subject to approval of that plan, would you be happy with the wording that the applicant is suggesting?
Based on the discussion that we've just had, yeah.
Sorry?
Yes, yeah. just on the discussion we've had, I think it makes sense to do it that way with the concerns, because the rest of the things we are aware of the timing that they do. I think the rest of the matters should be resolved, and it's just that one concern from an engineer with the site prep, which shouldn't. I don't think that would unreasonably hold up the development either.
Okay. Any further questions of the City of Bunbury officers?
With condition 6B, can you explain how that's a planning condition?
So when we get development applications, we will usually refer it to our health team. And it's tied to the prior commencement of works. So in order to actually construct your amenities, you generally need that approval to go ahead. So it's kind of tying in the fact that there's been no soil assessment done. Or
I understand the purpose. I'm just, there's no, it's requiring something under a different legislation, that's all, and not planning legislation.
I guess it's about just getting the relevant approvals before you build. I see your point though. The main thing for us would be the soil evaluation, and then we would need some sort of advice from our health team in order to approve it at that stage to go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions of the city from any of the panel members?
Just wondering if the city is aware of the changes to the Section 70A, or the way it's being approached now, in that the Section 70A notification has to be lodged by the city or a public authority and not by the applicant. I've got some wording to amend that, but that's the legal advice we've received quite recently.
No, the city wasn't aware of that change.
Okay, thank you.
All good. Any further questions of the city staff? No? All right, let's move to the report then. We have a report in front of us recommending approval of the proposal subject to a number of conditions. Do I have a mover and seconder for that recommendation? Anyone wish to move?
I'm happy to move.
Thank you, Councillor Kosciuszek. Anyone wish to second? Councillor Brown. Councillor Kosciuszek, would you like to speak as mover?
Thank you. I have a few words, and I must point out that I am not really fully au fait with wastewater treatment plants, but I have read as much documentation as I possibly can, and I do believe that all of the environmental requirements and relevant legislative requirements have been considered and met. Considering the issues surrounding our lower levels of rainfall and the accelerating needs of our community for water, a new wastewater treatment plant is timely and certainly puts VNV Walsh in a good position to operate sustainably for many years into the future. This business, as we all know, not only feeds our community all over Australia and beyond, but is a major employer in the region. And the capital investment of $32 million required shows a real commitment to the area, especially in light of the recent announcement of the closure of Albemarle. Sorry, so I'm really pleased that this is something that is happening, and I don't see anything untoward in the proposal. I think it's actually fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Brown, would you like to speak?
Yeah, look, I would like to speak. I would like to thank the proponents for their $32 million vote of confidence in the Bunbury economy. By bringing this Australian first technology to our region, you are not only securing local jobs, but also leading the way in environmental innovation and circular economy. Your commitment to continuous improvement since the 1960s ensures that Bunbury remains a substantial and competitive industrial hub for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Does any other member wish to speak for or against the proposal? Member Hyam.
Happy to speak for it. It's well, as councillor said, it's probably not in our bailiwicks as planners, waste treatment plants, but I have too. I've also read all the documentation, and it seems to me that it's a fairly straightforward proposal, and it satisfies all the environmental requirements, and of course it's regulated by DWA anyway. So it's consistent with the Greater Bunbury Regional Scheme and the City of Bunbury Local Planning Scheme and local planning policies. It has minimal visual and external impacts from what I could read and see, and so I'm more than happy to support it. I would like, however, to suggest a couple of amendments.
Sure, let's deal with them separately. Your first amendment?
Yes, thank you. I'll read the ones I've taken some notes on the changes to those other ones, but in relation to 6B, I'd like to put a full stop at the end of City of Bunbury, and the rest then would go in as an advice note, which would state in relation to condition 6B, the apparatus will need to, and then be in accordance with the health, treatment of sewage and disposal of effluent and liquid waste regulations 1974.
Sure, thank you. Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Thank you, Member Arias. Do you wish to speak further to that?
Just simply, I just want to try and make sure we keep it as a planning condition, and the advice note obviously backs up what the condition is trying to say anyway in terms of what it should comply with.
Thank you, Member Arias.
No further comment. Happy to support it.
Does any other member wish to speak for or against that amendment? No, let's put that amendment to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Back to you.
And then in relation to condition 8, the wording that we've been using with all these section 78 notifications is along these lines. So the condition 8 would read, prior to commencement of the proposed development, the landowner shall provide consent to a notification pursuant to section 70A of the Land Transfer Act 1893 being placed on the certificate, in brackets S, so certificate of title of the lot, in brackets S, and then continues with including, so as part of the current condition, including any strata or survey lot falling within or partially within a bushfire prone area as designated by an order made by the Fire and Emergency Services Commissioner under section 18P of the Fire and Emergency Services Act 1998, advising of the existence of a hazard or other factor. The notification is to state as follows, and it's exactly what is written there. And then in conjunction with that, there would be an advice note, which would state condition 8 is not imposing an obligation on the local government. If the local government chooses to lodge a notification under section 70A, the proponent's obligation is to give their consent to the local government application and nothing more.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that amendment, Member?
Can I just seek a clarification? Given we had questions earlier about the need to move the development forward because of other time restrictions, should that condition perhaps refer to prior to occupation rather than prior to commencement?
I think
You would achieve the same.
I think it can achieve the same thing. The advice we got was the obligation is on the local government or the public authority to put the notification in if they want to. The only obligation on the applicant is to give their consent. So that timing can be any time the local government wants to do it.
Okay, so I'm prepared to support it, but I would prefer it to read prior to occupation of the development.
Thank you. Are you happy to make it part?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah. Are you prepared to second on that basis?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak further to
No,
that?
that's fine.
Darius is second. Do you wish to?
Look, I wasn't aware of the change to how section 70A should be notified, implied. But given our earlier discussion about the need for not to put too many obstacles in the way of the commencement of the development, I think the critical thing is occupation in terms of fire safety. So to me, it's an appropriate timing issue.
Okay, thank you. Does any other member wish to speak for or against this amendment? I might just make a very brief comment just to wrap it up. This is something that came to our attention a short while ago, and it came to our attention as part of legal challenge on a separate application. And in essence, what it means is all the requirements that we've previously been imposing on applicants to lodge the Section 70, that onus rests with the public authority. So if the City of Bunbury wishes to have that lodged, the only obligation on the applicant is to provide their consent to do so. If the local government chooses not to do it, there's no requirement for them to do it. If they choose not to do it, then so be it. If the local government decides they do want to do it, it needs to be at the local government's cost. I do agree with Member Arias that this is something that should be dealt with prior to occupation or commencement of the use and not prior to commencement of work. So I'm happy to support on that basis. Do you wish to speak further in closing? All right, let's vote on that amendment. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Back to you. Iris, do you wish to speak to this?
Thank you, presiding member. I will also be supporting the motion to approve. I think from a planning perspective, the site's own general industry. It's also industrial under the Greater Bunbury Region Scheme. So it provides an appropriate planning context for this sort of development. The RAR does indicate that during the consultation period, there was no real objection, and the requirements of the referral agencies are being addressed through recommended conditions of approval. In terms of the normal amenity impacts, the RAR also indicates that traffic isn't likely to be much of an issue, and visual amenity isn't going to be affected given the existing development. The bushfire management plan also concludes that the fire risk can be appropriately managed. And finally, this is a sensitive location, and I think having a new modern best practice facility is something that is necessary in this location, and I would commend that it happening, and happy to support it on that basis.
Thank you.
I would also like to move the modifications to the conditions that have been raised. So that's condition 4, 5 and 7. I appreciate the city officers' reservations, but the preliminary or the site works are at the applicant's risk. And if, as a result of preparing the stormwater management plan, and it details what's required. If there's changes to earthworks levels, then that's something that the applicant will need to respond to. So on that basis, I'm prepared to move those modifications to those conditions as proposed by the applicant. So conditions 4, 5 and 7 to include those preface words that excluding associated clearing and site preparation works, and then the balance of conditions 4, 5 and 7 continue.
Okay, thank you. Can I just clarify, you are not seeking to introduce the requirement for a site preparation plan? You think as the condition is suggested by the applicant at the moment is satisfactory?
Yes.
Great. Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Councillor Kosisek, do you wish to speak further?
I'll probably have indicated why I'm going to support it. I don't think it's an unreasonable request, and I'm confident that the issues that are being requested by the applicant can be addressed through consultation with the City of Bunbury.
Thank you. Councillor Kosisek, do you wish to speak a seconder to the amendment? No. Does any other member wish to speak for or against the amendment that's been suggested?
I'm happy to support it, given the comments made by Member Harris. I suppose it does rely on some understanding occurring between the applicant and the city. So on that basis, I'm happy to support it if it speeds up the process for the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak to the amendment? No? All right, let's vote on the amendment that's been suggested. All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. Thank you.
Presiding member, there was one further change I'd like, and it's relating to advice notes. And I know they are only advice notes, but I do have a difficulty with advice notes that are written as conditions, and that is the case with condition 4, sorry, advice note 4.
Yes.
I'm happy to include some reference of the requirement, but not in the current way it's worded. There are many other obligations on the applicant in terms of legislation. I don't feel the need to do that. So I would prefer that advice note is changed so the applicant is advised of the requirements of the Environmental Protection Act, etc.
Okay, so you are suggesting that advice note is reworded to state the applicant is advised of its obligations under the Environmental Protection Act 1986 and the environmental blah, blah, blah in relation to discharges.
Correct.
Is that what you're suggesting? Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Thank you, Member Hyam. Anything further you wish to say?
I think just as a principle, there's no need to make reference to external legislation. There's plenty of other legislation that this development is subject to, and it is the applicant's responsibility to comply with that.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak? Does any other member wish to speak for or against that amendment? No, let's put it to a vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Anything further?
No further. Thank you.
All good. All right. Look, I too support the recommendation for approval. I have no further amendments. From the information provided in the report and the associated technical documents, it's evident that the new wastewater treatment plant is incidental to the main use on site, which has been in operation for many, many years. And it will result in enhanced wastewater treatment capacity. It will ensure consistent compliance with contemporary environmental and public health requirements and will support any future upgrades that may be needed. given its ancillary and incidental relationship to the existing use, and given it's essentially an upgrade to what's already on site, I'm satisfied that the proposed development meets the objectives of the general industry zone, and that the appropriateness of the land use has been agreed historically. I'm satisfied that the vegetation that needs to be cleared to accommodate the facility is degraded, and note that both DBCA and DEWA have supported the clearing subject to standard fauna spotting during that process. I also note that the proposal was advertised and no submissions were received from the public. So given the benefits the proposed upgrades will bring to the overall facility, and given they won't generate any additional off-site impacts, I'm very happy to support. With that, I will hand back to the mover of the substantive, Councillor Kosisek. Do you wish to close?
Thank you. Look, I think everybody has said everything that needs to be said, and I must reiterate some words that were said previously, that it is a new best practice facility that will certainly carry this company forward and our environment forward for many years, and I applaud V&V Walsh for taking this step, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. All right, let us now vote on the substantive as amended. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Reverting back to our agenda, item 4 today, Form 2 DAP applications, we have none. Section 31 SAT reconsiderations nil for the City of Bunbury. Part D, other business, SAT applications and Supreme Court appeals. All SAT applications for the DAPs are listed on the website. With that, I bring the meeting to a close at 10:15 a.m. and I thank all members for your participation today. I thank the City of Bunbury staff and the applicant team for gathering to answer our questions, and a big thank you to the Secretariat for helping us through this as always. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.